Back, still on education matters, the school system has also seen a pattern of teachers landing up in hot water due to their handling or sometimes mishandling of situations involving students. Now, most recently, there have been a few reports of incidents where the teacher-pupil relationship has been abused. Mthokozisi Maphumulo is the senior associate at Adams & Adams, and he says the teacher-pupil relationship topic has rather not been adequately explored and discussed. And I believe that he is there for us. So let's just get straight into this interview and welcome our guest, Mthokozisi Maphumulo. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to viewers. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Maphumulo, you say that the teacher-pupil relationship topic is not adequately explored. So let's talk to it. What is there perhaps that's missing in our discussion around this topic?
Okay, this topic is not sufficiently explored because year in, year out, we do find the instances and cases where there is bullying taking place at schools. There is also, for an example, earlier this year, we've already had many reports where teachers have been, instances where teachers have been abusing or rather bullying school children. That said, also, it's not always by the teacher to the learners. It is sometimes the learners to the teachers. But also, I think the frequency of these incidents do really necessitate such discussions, because I think school and the school environment is where is where such conduct of bullying, of being, violent, has to be addressed, and more education around that topic. And if it can be properly dealt with at the school level, it can possibly and probably assist in trying to get rid of the rot of violence in our communities.
So it begs the question again of whether the main protagonists in this regard are actually aware of what the regulations are. We talk about all the stakeholders here, the teachers, the learners, the parents, everybody involved in that microcosm. So what are some of the regulations, Mr. Maphumulo, that govern a pupil-teacher relationship? And also, what are the legal parameters when it comes to a pupil-teacher relationship?
Okay, so there are really various laws that are in place already. So I think we've done very well in that regard, to have laws that are if used properly and used, in accordance with the values of our society, the values of the Constitution, can really be a good, a good instrument to get rid of this rot, being the violence and the bullying. So we can look at the Constitution itself. The Constitution, we look at rights such as the right to dignity, right to safe environment of the kids or the school-going children. We can also, in some instances, consider rights such as right to privacy. We can also look at the Section 28 rights, which is, a whole clause or provision of the Constitution that is intended to safeguard the best interest of the child. And it stipulates, various rights and that are meant to protect children from such instances, or the instances of bullying and violence. And also we can then go on to consider, the Schools Act, which requires also that each school has schools code of conduct, and we can also then go on to consider the common law being various court cases and judgments that have been before our courts, they do lay out very, very solid and protective legal principles And in this regard, I can just think from top of my mind the case of the Komapi case, which is one of the prevalent cases when it comes to the issue of protection of children and the rights of being safeguarded and being at the safe environment in the school context. So those are some of the instruments that are in place, and also your general legal convictions of the community that is also applicable in this case. So insofar as the legal principles, the laws and the legal framework is concerned, we are, in that regard, I think we are in a good position. They just need to be utilized in a proper and effective manner.
Very difficult situations develop sometimes. And at this point, I can just imagine teachers watching, screaming at the television, asking, what about us? What about our rights and who protects us? I'm reminded of a video that went viral on social media of a learner and a teacher, and it seemed as though the teacher was trying to push back the learner, and the learner just kept advancing and advancing to a point where the teacher then more forcefully pushes the learner, who then flies across the room. So when we look at a case like that, where many teachers have said, there's a lot of provocation. I've spoken to a teacher who actually decided to leave a school, a female teacher, because she was being harassed by one of the learners. This was at high school. One of the senior learners was literally harassing her, saying that, he liked her, he was in love with her, and one day managed to corner her in a classroom, and she ultimately left. So what about teachers in this regard, the safeguards for them?
Sure. Thank you for that question. It's a very relevant question because we do see those kinds of instances as well. So the interesting and a good thing about the laws is that they apply to everyone. So they protect everyone as much as there are laws that specifically cater for children or to safeguard the interest of children. The laws themselves being the starting point being the Constitution, and the safe environment right, for an example, equally apply for the teachers. They need to be to feel safe so that they are able to properly execute their duties. But also we then have to look at the fact that they do have a legal recourse in terms of criminal law. So in that particular example, harassment is a criminal offense itself. So in that instance, a pupil can be arrested and the relevant wheels of criminal justice will have to take their course. And we then have to also, in that particular instance, we may have to look at charges for assault, charges for assault with the intention to cause serious bodily harm. So depending on the nature and the severity of, that incident and the behavior involved, we may have to consider various criminal offenses that may find application in that particular case. But and also we then have also to consider the fact that the school's code of conduct do provide or make provision for the safety of teachers, because it's not a one-way kind of protective measures or protection instrument. So the school's code of conduct intend to create a conducive and safe environment for both teachers, so as to allow the reception of education and also the giving, if I can put it in those words, of education.
So just a final one, Mr. Maphumulo, whose responsibility is it then to ensure awareness and regular conversation, especially among educators and learners?
Okay, that's all the relevant stakeholders, because at the school setting and the education itself, there are so many role players, yes, the role players involved. So we need to look at it from the parents' side. We've got to look at the community, with the teachers, children, of course, the government, or rather the relevant government officials, and also we may in places or where we see the prevalence and the frequency in the occurrence of bullying and violence, consider law enforcement and try to make it a point that it is adequately addressed, and it is something that is the awareness around which is properly made, so that for the children and for the teachers, they are aware of how they should conduct themselves to each other and how they should treat each other, and what are the consequences insofar as the laws are concerned for failure to, properly conduct themselves in accordance with the legal prerequisites.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Mthokozisi Maphumulo is a senior associate at Adams & Adams.